Spirit, lead me where my trust Oh, I'm thinking of.
I'm thankful for my best friend Marlo because she's always kind and she helps you when you're upset and she helps you when you need help. And that's why I'm thankful for my best friend Marlo.
Hey, we want to dismiss the kids at this point. They're going to head out back to where they go. A couple of announcements, just to keep you in the loop. My name is Mike. We've not had a chance to be introduced, and glad to see you here today. We've got a men's Bible study that's meeting at Chick-fil-A at Highway K. They're starting a new topic next Saturday on the commandments of Jesus, looking at the Gospels and what are the things that Jesus has kind of told us to do, or hey, say here's the direction, here's the path. So open-ended guys. I think they're there for maybe an hour change, right? So that's for you. We have an adult Bible study small group going through the book of James. That's meeting this afternoon. It'll be at our house at 1 Merrimack Shores Court. But again, you could either text the church or use that QR code in front of you from 4 to 6. There's about 10 or 12 of us meeting. Typically, folks whose kids are grown and out of the house. That's the age demographic they're meeting at our place. Next Sunday, we're calling it Pancakes and Praise. So from 9:15 to 9:45, we're going to be serving pancakes and bacon here. All right? We have the round tables out. Love to have you. All we simply want you to do is again use the QR code. Let us know you're coming so we know how much to prepare for. Master Chef Sean is making a homemade recipe for pancake batter. So I'm told it's not out of the box. I don't know what that means, but it's supposed to be good. If you could maybe help us flip pancakes and we come a little bit early, again, let us know that or let Sean know. Love to have you with that. And then as part of that service, we're going to present the spending plan for next year. Actually, I don't want to say, we have a vote, just kind of inform you guys, hey, here's the direction that leadership sees us heading for the next year. So that'll be part of the service. Some call it an annual meeting. We're just trying to tie it into this whole idea that God has been been good to us, and we want to celebrate that. So that's what's happening next Sunday. And then just a couple weeks out, we're going to be decorating the church. Thank you to those who came and put lights on the building yesterday. They will be lit at some point. And I believe we also did a tree. Did we do a tree?
Not yet.
Not yet. Tree is still to be had. So you would decorate a tree. So the story goes of a dog walked into the butcher shop. Dog goes to the meat counter. Butcher looks at him, thinks the lamb is cute. Goes, "Oh, hi, buddy, what are you doing here?" Doesn't say anything. Said, "Hey, can I get you some meat?" Dog goes, "Woof." Okay, got some communication going on. Goes through some things. Say you want some steak and some ribeye. How about some ground chuck? Woof, woof. Okay, cool. Want some ground chuck? How much ground chuck do you want? And then he goes through a couple of amounts, sells on a pound, which the dog now wagging his tail. Says, "All right, it'll be so much." The dog sort of turns his head. He's got a pouch on the side. Butcher goes, gets some money out. Says, "I got to follow this dog home." I mean, this dog starts trotting out, got a little sack on him, put some meat in there. He's going to follow this dog home, see what kind of owner is this, right? Get to the apartment building, go up a couple flights of stairs, and the dog is scratching at the door. This guy opens the door, and he's like, I can't believe it again." And the butcher's like, "Whoa, mister, man, what's going on? This is a pretty incredible animal you got here." Came down here, recounted the whole thing. You say incredible animal? Are you kidding me? This is the third time this month he's forgotten his key. Some people miss gratitude. Some people have all sorts of stuff going around them, and they just miss the really basic stuff of being thankful. That's where we're at, the power of being thankful. In my journal this week, I took note that Aesop, it was on Thursday, there was a quote from Aesop in which he said, "Gratitude, being thankful, is the sign of a noble soul." To be a person that is appreciative of others and mindful of what's going on is, there's something good about your heart. Take the yellow kind of handout that is at the end of the roll, looks like this, says "thank you." All right, and as you're passing those, also turn to the Gospel of Luke, Matthew, Mark, Luke, chapter 17. We're going to hang out at a story there that only Luke tells. He's the only of the four writers who captures this incident in the life of Jesus, but it's got some pretty, I think, interesting and profound thoughts on what it is to be thankful, what that looks like. And conversely, we're going to touch a little bit about why we don't give thanks, what makes it hard for us to be appreciative of what's going on. All right? Luke chapter 17, I know you're there, but before we get to the passage, I want to remind us what is thankful. We're going to try and make this work. We're stuck, eh? Here we go. I got a pop. Okay. What is it to be thankful? What is it to have gratitude? We said last week that it is a quality of being thankful. It's a readiness to show appreciation to and return kindness. We're going to look on WebMD. Type in what is gratitude. And WebMD says gratitude is being aware of and thankful for the good things that you have. These good things are not necessarily material possessions, they're relationships, situations, things in your life, anything positive in your life. Gratitude might be spontaneous. Hey, somebody might do something good for you and you just might boom. Or, I would argue that in addition to the spontaneity, we ought to be people that are looking for opportunities to express appreciation. Reading somebody this week who said gratitude and being thankful can be like a muscle. That the more you use it, the stronger you'll get with it. And that The challenge is, it's hard for people to see that good and respond. I'm going to ask you a question, we'll come back to it. Why is it hard to be thankful to people? Why is it hard to express gratitude? We'll come back to that, because I think that's an interesting question for us. I read a survey by, it was called One Poll, that said, on average, you give thanks 6 times a month. Think about that, it's once a week. All that's happening in your world, the average person returns thanks to somebody once a week. Which means what? That's average. How many are below average? Another survey said that they believe that their ability to show appreciation has grown over the years. When they were asked in this survey, they said, hey, I'm much more appreciative, I'm much more thankful. I tell people more often than not that I'm thankful for them. And then when they were asked, is it happening as a culture? They said no, they don't believe it's happening as a culture. So you know what that means? You think that you are more thankful than the person sitting next to you. And I find it humorous that we all think that way. Like, I think I'm probably the most grateful person in the room, which means you're not. But you think you're the most grateful person in the room, which means I'm not. And you see, that's just kind of an interesting thing to me. What's the struggle? Why do we have a challenge saying thank you to people? There was, what else did I see here? Gratitude is the practice of making space for appreciation, said a licensed psychologist. His last name was Kumar. Practice of making space for appreciation. People do good things to you. Situations in life are going okay. Your spouse, last Sunday, every Sunday, the last thing I do before I get in the car and head over here is I will pour myself some Coke Zero on ice and head out the door. That's the last thing I do. And so I go out to the kitchen last week, and Patty had my cup already filled. Now, in that moment, here's what we do. Here's the honest challenge. Well, it's not that big deal. I was going to do it anyways, right? I mean, it's just a small thing. You don't have to acknowledge it, do you? Would you? Somebody did something, I mean, really? This is kind of minuscule, isn't it? And we do this mind game with us. Hey, somebody lets you in line. Somebody gives you their spot. Somebody, I mean, we get the big stuff, right? But the little mundane stuff of life, do we notice? Do we see it? Do we say anything about it? Gratitude is making space for appreciation. It is both, as your outline says, it's both a feeling and it's an action. Okay? It is both feeling and action. I don't know what's going on. So, why do we, let me talk about what good it is, right? If I can get to that slide, that would be cool. Maybe we can just advance it. Can we just advance it to what good is gratitude? Maybe we can't. In your outline there, here's what I want us to grasp. Why it's important to us. Let's do it another way. How many of you, parents, grandparents, want your kids and grandkids to say thank you? Probably almost every hand up, right? Here comes the follow-up. Why? Seriously, why? You've got to train them. Being grateful isn't natural. You're not born being grateful for things. You're born self-centered. That's not a knock. That's just the way the world's wired, right? That's why I'm just amazed at the number of parents that I just do not understand your parenting skills, that you teach your 2-year-old to say me and mine all the time. You would think somebody would have trained you better. Did you train your kids to say me and mine? No. It's what comes natural. You've got to train them to think otherly. So now all I'm asking you is, why? Why is it important to teach your kids to be grateful? Okay? Let's see if we can make this work. Maybe not. I still don't. What's going on for our text? Blow it up. I apologize. If you make that start working back there, just give me a thumbs up or something. Thumbs up. Oh, there we go. Here's one reason. I'm going to start with the things that might resonate with us that aren't have anything to do with spiritual things. Because maybe you're sitting here and you're going, well, this is all church. I just want to show you some reasons to teach your kids to be thankful that aren't Bible-based. We're going to get to those. People who are grateful have more friends. Selfish people have fewer friends. It's just scientifically documented. Research shows self-centered people have fewer friends than people who are grateful, who are thankful for them. And just play that out in your mind. I've asked you before, if you have an hour to spend with somebody, do you want to spend it with a self-centered person or a giving person? Do you have people in your world that you would say, if we just said, hey, let's make a list. People who tend to think about themselves and list them, and people that I enjoy spending time with because they make me feel better. And now you get to pick who you're going to spend an hour with. Which side of the list do you choose? You just get it. People who are appreciative and thankful are overall their relationships are better. It's not just your friendships, but your interactions with wait staff, your interactions at the doctor's office, the way you treat people when you're trying to get customer service. You show me a self-centered person trying to get customer service, I will show you a dumpster fire with somebody throwing gasoline on it. You know it. You show me somebody that's appreciative of others and realizes, you know what, this probably really isn't their problem. Somebody higher than them is saying, this is the way we've got to do this, and so you've got a little more grace in your speech. There's something different about your demeanor and how you approach people. Your whole world relationally is a lot better when you're grateful. You're healthier. I saw something, Tony Robbins did a thing, but it was several people who just said the benefits to being grateful. You sleep better. You are less stressful. Your heart rate is down. You're not so wired tight when you are gracious and appreciative and thankful to people in your world. You are physically better. You are probably less depressed if you are grateful. It's not revolving all around you. You're not getting wigged out when it doesn't go your way. You feel better emotionally. You feel better just as a person. You're more patient with others. You extend kindness to others. Grateful people, by and large, that's who they are. People who are self-centered have a hard time with that. If you have a hard time being kind, let me ask you why that might be. Why do people who are self-centered have a hard time being kind? Because you think, I'm out to screw you over. I'm out to mess you up. You would never say that, but in your spirit, you're wired to think the world is out to get you. You're never going to get a break, and you're not going to get a break from that guy. And that's a whole cycle that messes with you on the inside. You have higher self-esteem. You feel better about yourself. You realize that you're a person with dignity and worth. You realize that while you're not perfect, you're not, I don't know how to say it other than you just have a healthy view of yourself. You like yourself. You show me people who are self-centered, they not only don't like themselves, they don't like other people. And that comes out in the way that we treat others. You're aware of God's presence. I'm going to give you two reasons biblically in Christian households why you want to teach your kids to be thankful. Because when we're thankful, my eyes are off myself and I'm looking. I'm just mindful. And it's really weird how it comes out. I was on a golf course a couple weeks ago, and I'm standing on a tee box, and I looked out and the colors were turning. And I was with three guys that I like, and I said for a moment, Lord, thank you. So I said, thank you. Because I realized in the moment what was going on. I was with some people I liked. It was a beautiful day. It was God's creation. Just being mindful that God is with me. But if you're living for yourself, you have a hard time thinking that God can be with you because God's out to, Jesus out to mess you up, right? God's not for you. You got to make it yourself. There's not a sense that God would be even remotely mindful when your eyes are off yourself and you're seeing other people and you're looking at things. See the board back there? When I asked last week for you to write down things that you're thankful for, that you would give thanks to the Lord for, here's what you said. Many of you said family. Sort of given. That's what our kids say. But don't you gotta appreciate the little girl who said that my dad saved for college? And she's aware. And she's aware. I wonder. Wait, I gotta ask. Because I'm gonna make fun of this, because it just struck me. So I don't want to offend you, but I probably will. But that's all right. Just suck it up. What about the little girl? Are you here? Are her parents here?
No.
Oh, good. I can make fun of them. And it's hard, right? I thought in real time, that little child. I mean, every time that they go through the line and they see something they want, does the parent say, you can't, honey, because we're saving for college? I guess that would be one way to get around that, right? You know, you can't have that candy bar because we're saving for college. And it's cool. You said family, you said health. Somebody back there said, I'm thankful for a new home. I've been looking for a minute. Somebody said, I'm thankful, Lord, you've never given up on me. Someone said, I'm grateful for a new baby on the way. Somebody said, I'm grateful, Lord, for your salvation. I'm grateful for your grace. Somebody said, I am grateful, God, for your protection over my family. Somebody said, I'm grateful for my neighbors. Somebody said, I'm grateful for this church and finding this church. Someone said, I'm grateful for friends who won't quit on me. Someone said, I'm grateful for a husband who loves Jesus. Someone said, I'm grateful that our grandson has returned to the Lord. You become more aware of what God's doing in the world when you're thankful. Because your eyes are up, and you're looking, and you're seeing what's going on. The last thing is, you're a huge encouragement to the people around you. It comes out in a lot of different ways. I think one way it comes out is the way you treat others. I think the words that you say. Had lunch for this week with a guy looking for a job. The one I honestly wanted to say to him, you're a good guy. You know, I had a boss once that wanted to fire me. And I remember at the time really struggling with thinking, because my mental thinking was this: if you keep your nose clean and you do what you're told to do, life works out. It's just the way, I don't know where I got that. Maybe that idea of fairness, right? You just do what you're supposed to do. You don't get in trouble, and you don't screw up. Everybody knows that if you screw up, you're likely to get fired. But if you're just a good person and you're doing your job, you shouldn't run into trouble, right? And so when my world blew up, it did. couldn't understand it. And then once that happened, I'm amazed at the number of people I've talked to who have been fired, who have been let go through no fault of their own. And so one of the messages I wanted to say to this guy is, you're a good guy. You're a good guy, and things happen that you have no control over. Keep your head up. God has you. God is going to see you through this. You understand, when we can deliver those kinds of messages to our friends, I would love a student ministry. I'm going to call you guys out. I would love a student ministry when students go through breakups, when students go through something with falling out with a friend, when they go through drama, when a teacher says that Christian students, their friends come around them and say, you know what's okay, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay through this. You're going to make it through this. Because there's something powerful about your peers believing that you're going to be good. Because we are so filled with negative messages that we're not going to make it. What if we were a church? What if we had friend groups? What if our small groups were places where when bad things happen, because they do happen, in 2 weeks we're going to look at how do you give thanks in the midst of difficulties. So that's where I'm headed the Sunday after Thanksgiving. But to just say today, what if we had groups of people that just believed in one another and said it out loud, affirmed it? Remember, being grateful and appreciative is not only a feeling, but it's an action. The words coming out, conveying, notes, those kinds of things mean the world to people. You have a huge encouragement to the people in your circle when you're thankful. All right, so where then does that take us? I started asking myself, well, let me just look at the text. Luke 17. Jesus is on his way to Jerusalem. Verse 11. This is towards the end. He's on the way to the cross. He knows what's in front of him. So on his way to Jerusalem, he's traveling between the border of Samaria and Galilee. And if you know your New Testament, you know those two groups of people hated each other. If you were a good Jewish person, you did not talk to, you went on the other side of the street of the Samaritans. You wouldn't do business with them. There's no way. That did not happen. Why? Because in your mind, you are the pure Jewish person, lover of Yahweh, worshiping in the temple. And the Samaritans come along, and they start intermarrying. So they're not 100% pure. And they're not worshiping at the temple anymore. And there's just like this, come on. Hardcore Trump, hardcore Biden. You're probably not having lunch together. It's not hard to get your brain around it, right? That's this group of people. So Jesus is traveling. As he's going into a village, 10 men who had leprosy met him, and they stood at a distance, and they called out in a loud voice, Jesus, Master, have pity on us. Leprosy was it still is, a disease that starts on the inside, affects your nervous system, so that then, as it works its way outside, you step on glass and you don't feel it. You touch hot things and it doesn't register. It burns your skin, it gashes your foot, but you don't feel it. And so, as it's working its way out, your skin changes, whitish, palish color, messes with your hair. You've been sick for a long time, it's working its way out, and once it happened, it's like, oh man, because there's no cure. And then what we did? We sent you away. You can't live with your family anymore. Your friends can't hang out with them anymore. The people you hung out with were the lepers. It was a death sentence, and you knew it. You died emotionally. Your friends, your support group all gone. You were dying physically. You were dying spiritually. because you were not welcome in the temple. Because you're sick. Again, this is hard for us to fathom. Except that 2 years ago we went through a virus that everything I just described for you, that's what we lived through, right? Quarantine. You're sick. Stay away. Go to the hospital. Put you in tents. Guard up anybody who comes close to you. Here's a screen. Talk to your loved ones on a screen. Some of you know what it feels like. That's what these guys have to deal with. And so there's 10 of them. And they see Jesus. You have to stay away. The length of our building is 100 feet. Okay? This way is 100 feet. You had to be 120 feet away from people. If you saw people coming to you and you didn't say, leper, 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 if you didn't say that and I got closer to you and found out you're sick, rocks. You got punished immediately. Think, oh man, that's really cruel. I don't know. How many people got chastised when they didn't say that they were sick with the virus? How many people were ridiculed, shamed? Same idea. All right, so there's 10 of these guys. And they said, Jesus, what did they know about it? We don't know. But they knew enough to call out, Jesus, Master, have pity on us. Would you have mercy on us? All right? And when he saw them, Jesus said, go show yourselves to the priests. And as they went, they were cleansed. And one of them, verse 15, when he saw he was healed, he came back. He was praising God in a loud voice, and he threw himself at Jesus' feet, and he thanked him. And he was a Samaritan. He was the wrong breed. I think by implication, Jesus is saying, where were the Jewish people I healed? Why didn't they come back? Why was the only one to come back this Samaritan? What is up with this? Jesus says, we're not all 10 cleansed. Where are the other 9? Was no one found to return and give praise to God except this foreigner? And then he said to this man in front of him, rise and go, your faith has made you well. I ask you the question that I asked myself. It's an honest question. It's a question Jesus asked. Why did 9 return thanks? You just had your family restored. You were going to go back to work. Your marriage was back. You were going to be able to worship if that was important to you. You had your friendship circle back. Jesus asked an interesting question. Where are the 9? Why was there only 1? Why don't people show appreciation? Think about it. There's a couple of reasons. I wonder if they resonate with you. I think arrogance and pride is one. To say thank you means you have to humble yourself. To say thank you means that you feel indebtedness to someone who did something nice for you, and you're acknowledging that. And that is tough for prideful, arrogant people to do. I wrote down, I think another reason that just, I wonder, was they felt deserved. I mean, it wasn't their fault they were sick, right? When people got the virus, was it their fault that they got sick? And so if someone were to come along and heal them, wouldn't you feel like, well, I just deserve this? I mean, I didn't do anything bad to get sick in the first place, so sure I should get healed. And you just feel like when people do something good for you, like, you would never say that. Oh, no. But in your spirit, you had it coming. Would you work harder at work if you were paid more? Would you be a harder worker if you were paid more? Be careful how you answer that. Because if I was your boss, I'd ask, well, why am I getting that effort now? It's just the dollars. One, where you're going. When you get a raise, are you appreciative? Or do you feel like, I Can you see it's very subtle, this mindset we have where we feel like we're deserving of these good things that come our way. Instead of being humble enough to say, wow. And that just led me to think, what are the traits of an ungrateful life? There are some things that I think are true of people that are not genuinely appreciative. You feel entitled. You feel like you should have this stuff coming. You should get that grade. You don't see that on a basketball team that maybe somebody's better than you. You feel like, no, I worked as hard as that guy. Why do I get cut? Coach, why am I on the bench? Why didn't I get that lead? Why didn't the pastor ask me to do this? There's a sense of entitlement that fuels us. We, I think in the United States, feel like we're an entitled country. And it just bleeds its way down. Do you ever find that your kids feel like they're entitled? Where did that come from? Did you teach them that? Was that something that you're like instilling in them? It's just out there. We've got to fight it. I think ungrateful people are angry and they're resentful of the success of others. If you find that you cannot be glad when good things happen to other people, you ought to ask yourself why. Why am I not happy for them? Because you feel like what? It was taken away from you. And see, it all going to circle back to you now. Look at our politicians. How much time, I'm saying, how often do I find like I feel like I see this all the time. They feel a certain sense of entitlement when it doesn't go their way. There's an anger, there's a resentment, there's a how dare you. You regularly complain and you're critical. You're generally unhappy in life. I find that grateful people, everything says that there's more joy, there's more balance to your step. Ungrateful people whine and complain. You don't like it in your kids. It's worse in us as adults. You can't see the good in it because you're wrapped up in seeing the bad in it and how somebody's out to get you or how it's unfair to you. You're self-centered. You feel superior to others. How dare somebody cut in front of you in line? That's your spot line. You can't give that up. You're better than them. How can that happen to them when you know you're better? It's not a sense of grace in your life. It's like, no, this is my toy box. You're always the victim. Always someone else's fault. Your life isn't going the way you want it to because someone else has messed you up. Right? It's not your fault. It can't be your fault. It has to be my wife's. I remember somebody was talking to me about the church. This was an eye-opening experience for me. I'm just going to be brutally honest. And they were saying, hey, what's all going on? And I started listing the things going on. And I started this group, that group of people. And after the second time I did that, I just shut up. Come on, like, really? Really? We have so much that God has done. How do I grow in gratitude? How do I get better at this? What did this guy do? I think this one gentleman who returned is powerful. One of them, when he saw he was healed, he came back, praising God. You've got to slow down and notice what's going on. You've got to carve out time to slow down. This is, I brought up for a couple reasons. So last November, I challenged us to every day, write down 3 things every day that you're thankful for. I went back this week, and I had 60 days out of the last year. So, hear me, I didn't do it. But I do have 60 days, 180 things over the last year that I've recorded that I'm just grateful for. I can't do this unless I slow down and stop and reflect over it. What am I thankful for? Whenever I see God at work, what's going on in my world? It is a powerful thing to do, to take a step back and take a breath and just look. Calm yourself down. What's going on? What am I thankful for? What am I praying for? There's another section in my journal where I'm writing down things I'm praying for. Because I want to remember. Because here's what we do. You start praying for something, and maybe God doesn't deliver the next day. Wouldn't that be cool? But he doesn't. And I forget. I was praying for that. It's kind of fun that a month ago I started praying for my son-in-law for his work. It was just a bummer of a week for him. It was a month. And then he had a week that was just his best week ever. I'm not saying it's because I'm praying. I'm just saying if I hadn't written it down, I would have forgotten that I was praying for Ryan. And then being able to write stuff down, like, this is cool. This guy, as he's going, notices that he's healed. Here's what I wonder. Get your brain around this. There's 10 of them. Did he start to see the healing in somebody else? Did he start to take steps and begin to feel the marks in his feet? Remember, he had lost feeling. Oh! Hey! How far did he get before he noticed? Because we're not told. At some point, he slowed down, he looked, and he said, there's something going on. And that would be a bonus for half of you in this room. If you just did that, you just took a look at what's happening in your world 1, 2, 3 times a week and jotting it down. I thought it was interesting. Charles Dickens said that we should reflect often on our personal blessings, of which everyone has plenty. And what we're guilty of doing is like the business guy who was running late for a meeting, and he's like, oh God, if you give me a parking spot near the door, I'll go to church with my wife on Sunday. And then, lo and behold, the spot opens up and he pulls right in. And then he was recounting that. And a friend asked him, are you going to go to church on Sunday? He's like, no, heck no. Before God could answer, the spot was there. That's what we do. Things happen in our world and we just don't see that maybe God was involved with that. How do we grow and be thankful? It's a conscious decision as an action. This guy stopped. He's on his way to show himself to the priest. He's got 10 others, 9 others walking with him. At some point, think about this. At some point, he has to leave the company of the 9 and go back. Hey, we should go back. Hey, Timmy, come on, man. No, man, I'm going. I haven't seen my wife in a year. No way, dude. Bob, no, man, my kids. No, I gotta go. I mean, Jesus said, go show yourself to the priest. Why don't we go back and it reverses? And at some point, he's alone with his thoughts, and he says, do I keep walking away, or do I return to give thanks? That will probably be the biggest battle that most of us face. You will have to make a conscious decision what will you do about those feelings of gratitude. Will you keep walking because you're busy? We're all pretty busy. Because it might feel really awkward to say thank you to somebody. You ever watch people when someone's done something good for them, or they come up and compliment them? I don't have a scientific for this, I'm just going to ask you. You see somebody, they're saying thank you, and the person receiving the thanks usually will do what? What do? They begin to deflect it, don't they? Oh, it was nothing. No, no big deal. It's hard to receive it, isn't it? And when that happens, sometimes it's awkward. It just feels really funky, doesn't it? You're trying to do some. In fact, somebody did it for me like a week or so ago. They came up and they came up and they said thank you, and they were specific in what they were thanking me for. And my immediate thing was to deflect it. It's just a false sense of pride. Why can't you just say thank you? Thanks. Thanks for noticing. Thanks for saying something. Oh, that's a big deal. To grow in being thankful means you've got to teach your kids to make a deliberate action to stop, to see what's going on, and to express it. And what we do is, tell Grandma thank you! Tell Grandpa thank you! Thank you! It's bigger than that, isn't it? It's seeing what's going on, it's being able and willing to express that. So how do we do that? I've sort of keep a journal. If those are expensive for you, you can buy these bank books at Target, 3 for $1. And just go in there and just start writing down things that you see that you're thankful for. What's going on that you're appreciative of? When things hit, make a point to send a note. I just want to say thank you. Did I bring it? I meant to. In my mail, when I opened the mail, when I came to church today, somebody had written a note that thanked me for the service last week. No big deal, but they did have to take a moment to get the stationery out, to put a stamp on it, and say thank you. And the last way to go, this is something that, come on, Mike. Under this one, that it just struck me last night at 8 while I was replaying the message. And this is big for some of us. Not everyone's going to appreciate what you do. Jesus healed 10. 9 of them walked away. They were still healed. Not everyone is going to say thank you when you do something. And I think that can be huge because I hear sometimes from us how defeating it feels. Well, I did this. And you put yourself out and you tell me how you did something, but no one noticed. No one cared. No one said anything. Some of you feel that way in your house, don't you? I'm doing this in my house. I'm doing X. And no one says anything. No one cares. Go back, everything that I've shared with you is for a reason. It's hard to be thankful. It's hard to show it. It's humbling to show it. You have to swallow some things to show it. You have to be observant of other people to show it. And not everyone gets it. Some of you are going to walk out here and think this was a waste of your time. Some of you, I hope a couple of you walk out here going, you know what, I really have been ungrateful. And it's not hard to change. I just need to open my eyes. Here's the third thing this guy did, is that he gave credit to God. He came back and he fell at the feet of Jesus and he cried in a loud voice. He just said, thank you, Jesus. Coming to worship is a thank you to Jesus. It really is. You being here and singing and saying, God, thank you for what you've done in rescuing me. It's hard if I don't feel like God's done all that big deal for me. That's what's hard, right? That's a challenge. I get it. But moving forward, taking Thanksgiving from more than one Thursday to a lifestyle is an acknowledgement that God has not quit on me, has me, is still directing my steps. And you're not here this morning by accident. I know you think it was your choice to get up and come here. I know you think that. I believe there's a God who is working in our lives and directing our steps. And there's something that He wanted you to hear this morning. And the task becomes what? What do I take from this that would change my life? And I think being a grateful person, a thankful person, writing it down, expressing it to other people will change your life. I honestly believe that. It will change your life. Wait for me. Jesus said to this guy, rise and go, your faith has made you well. The well there isn't physical healing. It's the idea of people being out at sea in a boat in the middle of a storm, and they don't have help and being rescued. Your faith has rescued you. I think there's something that happens to your heart as we draw closer to Jesus and we see what He's doing in us that changes us. Makes us a different kind of person. In essence, makes us well. Praise team's coming up. They're going to lead us to our last song. As they do that, anybody watch the George Clooney film Gravity? Remember from a few years back? 2013. It was supposed to be a dud. It was not supposed to do well. And as such, if I understand the way the story goes, instead of getting a set fee for the movie, everybody was working on percentages. Okay? The movie was a box office sensation. Clooney made a ton of money on that movie. It wasn't supposed to. So true story, because I fact-checked it a couple times because I can't believe it, but this is what he did. That movie did so well that he took, and he had 14 friends? 14 friends that he identified as close friends of his. He bought 14 new suitcases. He put $1 million in each suitcase. He called all his friends over to have a party. He hired a van and a driver to pull up and deliver 14 suitcases with $1 million that he was going to give to each one of his 14 friends. Here's why he said he did it. He said, I thought, what do I have? What I do have are these guys who, over a period of 35 years, have helped me in one way or another. I've slept on their couches when I was broke. They loaned me money when I was broke. They helped me when I needed help over the years, and I've helped them over the years. We were all super tight. And I thought, without them, I don't have any of this. And so we're all really close, and I just thought, basically, if I get hit by a bus, they're all on the wheel. So then he said, why am I waiting to get hit by a bus? Gives each of his friends $1 million. He said, now here's the culmination of the story. He says some years later he's out in Vegas, and some guy who knows him, who's super rich, came up to him and said, why would you give your friends $1 million? That's crazy. And Clooney said, I looked at that guy and said to him, they're my best friends in the world. Why wouldn't I, you schmuck? What's holding you back from being an appreciative, thankful person? To the Father, to the people in your world. What could you do today? What could you honestly do this afternoon to say thank you to somebody that, like Clooney, has been there with you through thick and thin? Let's stand together. You guys are here.
mark. When I go through, you found me in the darkness, running through the desert. I was so hopeless, I was hopeless in your glory. My chains are broken, and all again with you. When I go through, you found me in the darkness, running through the desert. I was so hopeless, now I'm hopeless in your glory. My chains are broken, and all again with you. When I go through, all I do to undo me, but you love me enough to pursue me.
Father, these are people that you love. You are crazy about us. So as we walk out of here, I would ask two things for us, Lord. I would ask that you might remind us who we are and whose we are. That we are children of Almighty God, belonging to you, loved by you, here to be able to do incredibly awesome things. Thank you for our students, not only those that are behind me, but those in the chairs. Thank you for, Father, your work in their life. Thank you, God, for your directing their steps. And we know we continue your word. God, we ask that you would protect them, that you would direct them, that you would strengthen them, and give them courage. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Amen. God bless you. Go. Have a great week. We'll see you.